I got Aaron Canes, and I'm pretty happy about that. But that's not really the main thing that I'm here to talk about. To be honest, I barely remember why I pulled the camera, just thinking about it. Actually, no, there is something that I want to talk about, apart from this, and some other thing that I'm going to show later. And we're here on the ground, as you can probably tell, because I wanted to fix up my, not fix up, but clean my skateboard from the inside. So I got a socket wrench. But the thing that I wanted to talk about was how I'm so tired of people having to pick sides in certain things. That or they damn the other person for the side that they choose, which is absolutely ridiculous. I tried to record this earlier, but again, it was pretty terrible. So I figured I would try again. And what better way to try again than failing to get the piece that I need so that I can start taking apart my wheels. So this all came just because I did a poll for a gift card. Yeah, of all things. And for some reason, the questions that they asked for the gift card, they involve things like, what's your stance on this social political topic, or what's your stance on this other topic? And I figured that I would kind of shed some light on what I think about choosing a side, as well as some sides that I pick. You're completely entitled to your own thing, and I am gonna get into, I guess, a sense of justification for these things. But I don't think you should, like, damn the other person for why they think a certain way, with exceptions. Per usual, there's always exceptions to certain things, but we'll get there when we get there. So, just as a warning, this stuff might be a little political. It might bring up topics that some people are not comfortable with. So, I suggest getting away from this video right now if you're not comfortable with that kind of stuff, or if you feel like you're gonna get triggered just because of my opinions. But you're also entitled to your own opinion, and I don't want to change that at all. So, again, partisan sides, or just this partisan mentality, it's been plaguing the country and society for the better part of 2 centuries now, which is insane to even think about. And what's worse is that it doesn't seem to slow down anytime soon. We're gonna go tread some old ground here, and discuss things like, again, Hogwarts Legacy. Like, there are people that took hard stances, and just side note, my shit is pretty not clean. But again, Hogwarts Legacy, they damned you just for liking the game or even pre-ordering it. And it's funny because that game ended up being like one of the highest selling games on Steam. So that was a total kick in the face for anybody that claimed other people were fascists. Rightfully so. And it's just one of those situations of separating the art from the artist. Especially in this case, because the only thing that they owed to J.K. Rowling was royalties. That was about it. Other than that, they had full control over it. They had full direction. From what I've seen, they recreated the areas of the Harry Potter world pretty well. And all you're doing, if you're gonna go on this crusade of sorts, is just damning the people and making their hard work void just because they're passionate about this universe that they want to contribute to. And like, it's understandable that if you're gonna go against the source, but just go against the source, don't go against the branches. Because if you're trying to push a certain thing, like a certain agenda, that's not gonna work anyway. Especially with J.K. Rowling, because I remember the reply that she gave on somebody that's like, how do you feel about, I don't know, it was something about, being hated on the internet or something, and she's like, oh, the pain goes away whenever I see the cash-in check or whatever the fuck. It's like, this is the kind of person you're dealing with. She doesn't care about your opinion at all. And just, again, Hands getting a little dirty. Apart from other ways. But still, that's one instance where having to pick a side is ridiculous. The other one, which some of you might have seen coming, especially because I'm still on the topic of games, The Last of Us Part 2. I honestly can't for the life of me continue to play that game right now. It is treading so much old ground, like within itself. If it was treading old ground just from the first game, that's fine. But it's treading old ground within itself, or worse, in my opinion. And it's an absolute detriment. Because I wanted to give that game a chance, but the fact that they've done certain narrative decisions and gameplay decisions wrong are pretty worrisome if they're going to do a third installment. For example, the parallels between Abby and Ellie are fine. It helps connect the characters together and shows that they've been in similar predicaments, right? But then we go back to having to start from scratch. We have to upgrade our shit again. We have to use the same tactics again. And from the way they've set it up, Abby's more in line with gameplay for Joel than Ellie, because she actually has to use shivs, for example, and she also, whenever she does takedowns, she does a chokehold, which is just how Joel did in The Last of Us. Which could also be like another parallel that they wanted to do, be it intentional or not. But still, it's the same ground nonetheless. And it is an absolute tragedy that that's the case. Because I don't see myself going back to that game. But besides that, I'm sorry about the rant. You were damned if you hated the game, and you were damned if you liked the game. It was a lose-lose ultimatum. And that is the worst mentality to have for the party in general, when nobody is going to win or nobody can respect each other. Which is also punctuated by IGN giving The Last of Us Part 2 a 10 out of 10. Some people probably lit their houses on fire after hearing that. Which I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's still connected to like one of the best games around. Yeah. But going into the more serious topics, we're going to get into one that's fairly recent, and it's still such a tragedy that this is still going on, but gun rights. And this is going to lead to another thing. It's so sickening that you don't pick a side, but you pick things that both sides can contribute to, and you're still going to get flack for that. I'm going to throw myself out there right now. I believe that we have the right to carry arms. I think having a gun or owning a gun is fine. But I don't think that we should have rifles of any kind that are high capacity, piercing through certain substances or certain cover, and just be easily accessible from a relative standpoint. I don't think that's okay. Again, carrying a firearm is fine. It can help with self-defense, but even though one could argue that escalation could also be a thing, because it's always, there's this sense of there's this belief where you have to always top the other person, similar to like competition in business, except much worse. And that is absolutely detrimental to society, in my opinion. Even though some might find it necessary. Like carrying pistols, concealed carry, I think is okay. Especially for women, because women have it pretty fucking rough out there. And if you disagree with that, you can go fuck yourself. But I don't think that it should take more shootings than there are days of the fucking year to realize that these sorts of things need to be highly regulated. And I do agree, the National Rifle Association is barely doing anything to stop that. Another topic, I can go on about gun rights and how some parts are fair but some parts are unfair. I really want to do a one-on-one on these kinds of things, but we're going to move on. The other one, which is highly controversial, is abortion. And yes, I understand, and it's absolutely okay to have whatever opinion you have on this, especially women. And I'm going to voice my own, and I will acknowledge something, okay? Here we go. I think abortion is something that I personally don't like. But I also agree that I have no stance whatsoever on anything discussing that topic. I will accept that. You know why? Because I'm not a woman. Just straight and through. Like, sure, I can have an opinion, but realistically, my opinion doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because I'm not the one that is being targeted. I am not the one that has this capacity that can be abused. And it's a shame, too, because illegally, women are getting fucked the worst. Like, why is it that we have to ban these things and still men get it relatively easy in terms of punishment? Why is that the case? That is, in a sense, cruel and unusual. Not in a sense, it is cruel and unusual. Like, the fact that the man might have a lighter sentence than the woman because the woman's trying to reverse something that the man did, that's bullshit. It genuinely is. And I honestly don't think that enough is being done. Like, overturning Roe v. Wade was a massive mistake. As much as your morals may go against that decision, it simply shouldn't have been reversed. Just cut and paste, through and through. Okay? And you cannot, if you're a man... God damn. Let me get the ice of alcohol. I need to get that. Just give me one second. I should have put the bearings in, I swear. Okay, so my mom walked in and said hi, then put my sandals inside because she was using them. You know how it is, I guess, if you're in a Hispanic family. But back to topic. If you're a man, just long and short, myself included, shut the fuck up about this situation. That's it. Let women decide their own freedoms. Let them decide their own choices. And it is a lot more different if it's in a relationship, alright? Like, you both can agree to certain things and disagree on certain things and talk it out. That's another thing. I want to get into relationships. Because it's something that I've been meaning to talk about ever since February. For one, I am single. And two, I might just be spewing garbage because of that. So, who knows? Okay, I hope my bearings are clean because I've been switching these around for a good 20 to 30 seconds. The water looks like shit, so I'm assuming so. But, yeah. Just another thing, if somebody's voicing their opinions, myself included, I mean, I guess, and I don't necessarily care, just don't damn them for it. Like, don't challenge it. Make it more like a Socratic seminar. That's why I like my national government class right now, because you can voice your own opinion inside, and somebody can challenge or support it in a respectful manner, which we desperately need on the internet, because there are so many idiots out there on Twitter, Reddit, and practically anywhere that they can have a voice. So just respect each other on something if you're going to discuss it. If it's something super controversial, just see what the other person's concerns are with that thing and see if you can reach a common consensus with those sorts of things. I think that's fine. Like, my opinions, they are very subjective. They might even be a little alarming to some people, but those are my opinions, and I hope that nobody sees me less because of that. And I had to emphasize that there are certain things that could go against my beliefs, because I may not have a basis to stand on, and that's fine. I personally think that's fine. That's also why I don't want to vote or get into politics other than this one time in this one video in my account, because that is something that is so divisive and can often lead people to extremist viewpoints sometimes. So it's something that I hope I can avoid for myself as well as anybody that's watching these things, because I have a feeling that only like 2 people ever see these things let alone through and through, but it's just me. But yeah, it's something that I wanted to discuss because it's a bunch of serious shit that's been in my head and I wanted to get it off my chest. It's still a shame that women are damned for stuff that may be out of their control or things that they want to control. And it's such a shame that we have more shit happening ever since Columbine. To reevaluate gun rights and have nothing be done about it at the end of the day. Like, it's sad that we live in this world, but the best we can do is move forth and voice our opinions and hopefully scream loud enough so that they can hear us. But yeah, I'll just be finishing up my board and then I'll talk about some other stuff. Alright, so I got all of the bearings cleaned as well as the bearing covers. And I'm gonna clean the truck a bit in a minute, but I'm gonna give a bit of an update on things, because doing that is something that I like to do. But there aren't that many good news. Really, the big one that is detrimental right now is the fact that my brake pads were pretty costly. I get that it's a part that I really needed to replace because my car was doing a lot of grinding on itself, like the brake pads were grinding on the wheels as I was going down the road. But that shit was not cheap. That cost like half of my bank account already, and it was a serious blow to me. Worse still, I got a flat tire on the same fucking day. This happened yesterday. And I was going to get the brake pads fixed when I got a flat. So now I know what that rapid thudding was. So that shit was terrible. But on the bright side, I got my tuition paid. It's done. I don't have to worry about it until next semester, so that's great. With that said, with what's happened, I'm gonna consider doing more hours or maybe even having a second job in the summer. It's already been in my mind that I were to do that just to keep myself busy and make myself an even bigger safety net for when my tuition payments come up again. But after that, I'm going to transition out of my job, which is a shame because again, I got a year. And this was my first day in April 2nd of last year, which was nice. Also, another thing, I got a box. What does this box have? We are going to see in a second. And I am so glad that I found, or that I saw this on somebody that I follow. And I'm gonna put their profile on screen because I think their shit is actually pretty neat. Call me whatever you want, but I honestly, you're a Spider-Man fan, okay? Can't go wrong with that. And what I got was something that not a Spider-Man didn't have, but rather a Daredevil fan. Yeah, I got the Matt Murdock Funko from No Way Home, and I wanted to get the ones for the actual Netflix show on Daredevil, but those things are not cheap at all. But I figured this would be a good one, and besides, if you haven't seen Daredevil, I highly suggest it. It is very mature, and you're probably going to look away at certain points, but it is an absolutely fantastic show. It's a shame that we don't have shows like that, even though The Mandalorian and The Last of Us are a little close to that. Speaking of which, I've finished The Last of Us with my friends like 2 weeks ago, I think. The week after spring break, and they really rushed the season finale. But other than that, I am very happy for what the show was. Certain ground was treaded a little slowly, like episode 2, but that's fine by me. And certain roads we didn't even come across, like Bill and Frank, that was a good episode. And certain aspects of David in episode 8, I also thought those were pretty good. And it was nice to see Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson again. But going back into the season finale briefly, they kind of misled you into thinking that Ashley Johnson was going to play a much bigger role, or maybe not a much bigger role as much as having more screen time, because that's what is kind of implied in the description for that episode, but whatever. And overall, the things they added were great. Some things, like the line delivery of certain lines from the game, was a little rushed, like in episode 1 when Ellie and Joel are at the safe house, or the episode where they unite with Tommy again, or Joel reunites with Tommy, and then they have that whole discussion of loss. I think that was rushed as well, and there wasn't an actual like resolution to it, which I found really bizarre. But overall, I think the show was fine. It could have done with more cordyceps, it could have done with more clickers, but I think that you'll be satisfied with what you've had if you followed the games. And that's also another thing. You'll respect certain parts of the show if you like the games, but you'll probably have a much better experience if you didn't see the games before. So, yeah. What else? Oh yeah, I have like 4 weeks left until college is over, which is crazy to believe, because I could have sworn like in the middle of my semester last year, like I could have sworn that I was barely in the middle of my first semester, and here I am just about to cap it off for my second. And I'm going to discuss college in the future. It's going to be one of my heavier videos, but I want to do it, so fuck it. That, and just one more thing, which has already showed up on my feed, but I'm back to drawing again. If you look to your right, you're going to see that I finished the line art for Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, and I'm pretty excited to get into the coloring. Now, I certainly hope that I can get this in a timely manner, unlike with Ellie and the drawings that came before, but I'm pretty optimistic that I'll be able to finish it by the end of the month. And I didn't want to say anything initially because I'm not good with deadlines for my art stuff, but I want to get back into it again. So we're just gonna roll. But yeah, that's about it, and I'll see everybody around.